Ion. We destroyed one of their ships and damaged two others, he reported. But our core was nearly compromised. Engineer Kim saved the ship, but he and Technician Min received dangerous radiation doses. Sujin's expression hardened. What about the colonists? We rescued 73 in total, but according to Governor Han, over 300 were taken by the Krell before we arrived. Sujin turned to Governor Han, who had followed her to the bridge. You mentioned research. What exactly did you find on this planet? The governor hesitated. Perhaps you should see for yourself. We managed to bring one artifact with us. As they left the bridge, Jin-Ho called out, Commander, long-range sensors are detecting more Krell ships heading this way. We have maybe 12 hours before they arrive. Sujin nodded. Then we have 12 hours to figure out why they're here and how to stop them. The artifact sat on the table in the Icarus's science lab. It was a small metal pyramid, covered in strange symbols that seemed to shift and change when viewed from different angles. Sujin stood with arms crossed as Dr. Young Mi, New Horizons' chief scientist, carefully examined it. We found it buried nearly 40 meters underground, Young Mi explained. Carbon dating suggests it's over 3 million years old. Sujin raised an eyebrow. 3 million? That predates human civilization by a wide margin. Young Mi nodded. Exactly. Whatever made this, it wasn't human. When we first uncovered it, the artifact was dormant. But after we brought it to the surface and began studying it, it started to emit a signal. And that's when the Krell showed up, Sujin said, understanding dawning on her face. 3 days after the signal began, confirmed Young Mi. They came, directly to our planet, like they knew exactly what they were looking for. Governor Han, who had been silent until now, stepped forward. We think the Krell and whoever built this artifact were enemies, ancient enemies. Sujin gently touched the pyramid's surface. It felt warm, almost alive. And now we're caught in the middle of their old war. The door to the lab slid open, and Lieutenant Do-Yun entered with a data pad. Commander, we've finished. Analyzing the Krell's attack patterns and technology. There's something odd about them. What did you find? Sujin asked. Their biology and technology are intertwined in ways we've never seen before, but what's strangest is their behavior. They move like they share a single mind. In battle, they coordinate perfectly without any detectable communications. Young Mi's eyes widened. A hive mind? That would explain their efficiency. And their weakness, Sujin said thoughtfully. If they all share one mind, they might all share one vulnerability. The ship's AI voice suddenly filled the room. Commander Park, Captain Jin-Ho requests your presence on the bridge immediately. When Sujin arrived on the bridge, Jin-Ho pointed to the main screen. Long-range sensors have detected a massive energy signature entering the system. It's bigger than anything we've seen so far. The screen showed a huge Krell ship, at least 5 times the size of the others. It moved slowly but purposefully toward New Horizon. How long until it reaches us? Sujin asked. 4 hours at current speed, Jin-Ho replied. And our systems are still recovering from the last battle. We're at 70% capacity at best. Sujin's mind raced. What if we use the artifact? Young Mi says it emits a signal that attracted the Krell. Maybe we can use it against them somehow. Or maybe we should destroy it, suggested Do-Yun. If it's what they want, denying them might make them leave. Before Sujin could respond, an alarm sounded. Multiple Krell landing craft detected, announced the tactical officer. They're heading for our position. Sujin turned to Jin-Ho. They must have tracked the artifact to our ship. Prepare for boarding action. Throughout the Icarus, crew members grabbed weapons and took defensive positions. Sujin returned to the science lab where Young Mi was frantically studying the artifact. Any progress? Sujin asked. Yes. Young Mi looked up, excitement in her eyes despite the danger. I've partially decoded some of the symbols. This isn't just a beacon. It's a weapon designed specifically to target the Krell's hive mind. A loud explosion rocked the ship. Hull breach on Deck 3, came the announcement. Krell boarding parties. Detected. Sujin grabbed the artifact. How do we activate it? I'm not sure yet, Young Mi admitted. but it seems to respond to certain energy frequencies. If we could connect it to the ship's power core. Another explosion, closer this time. The lab door burst open and 3 Krell rushed in. Sujin drew her weapon and fired, hitting the first one. The creature fell but immediately began to repair itself. Do-Yun appeared in the doorway behind the Krell, firing his weapon. Between them, they managed to destroy the intruders, but not before one of them injured young Mi with a glancing hit from its energy weapon. "I need to get her to medical," Do-Yun said, lifting the wounded scientist. "Go," Sujin ordered. "I'll take the artifact to engineering. Maybe Ha-Jun can figure out how to connect it to our systems." Sujin made her way through the ship's corridors, avoiding Krell patrols when possible, and fighting through them when necessary. The crew of the Icarus fought bravely at every turn, but they were outnumbered. When she finally reached engineering, Sujin found Ha-Jun working frantically at his station. Despite his radiation exposure earlier, he had refused to stay in medical. "Commander," he greeted her, looking pale but determined. "Half the ship is overrun. The Krell are mainly heading for the bridge and here." Sujin placed the artifact on a console. "We need to connect this to the ship's power core. It might be our only chance against the Krell." Ha-Jun examined the pyramid. "These connection points, they look almost like they were designed to interface with technology like ours. That's impossible given its age unless whoever made it knew the Krell would still be a threat millions of years later." Sujin finished. "And they left. This for whoever came after them." A nearby console exploded in a shower of sparks as the ship took another hit. The lights flickered. "We need to hurry," Sujin urged. Ha-Jun began connecting the artifact to the ship's systems. As power flowed into it, the symbols on its surface glowed brightly. Suddenly, all the screens in engineering flickered and displayed the same message in an unknown language. Then the characters shifted and changed into human writing. "Weapon. System activated. Target. Krell hive mind awaiting deployment." Sujin stared at the message in amazement. "It's adapting to us." Her communicator crackled to life. "Commander," came Jinho's voice, strained and with sounds of fighting in the background. "The bridge is nearly overwhelmed. The Krell mothership will be in weapons range in 20 minutes. Sujin looked at Ha-Jun. "Can we use the ship's quantum cannons to deliver whatever this weapon does?" Ha-Jun nodded slowly. "Theoretically, yes. But we'd need to get very close to their mothership, point blank, range, and our shields won't hold against their combined firepower." Sujin made her decision. "Then we'll need to be clever about how we get close. And we need to hurry. The future of humanity might depend on what we do in the next 20 minutes. Quint, the aftermath of the devastating alien invasion, humanity found itself at a critical turning point. The world had been torn apart, cities reduced to rubble, and millions of lives lost. Yet, in this darkest moment, something extraordinary began to emerge. Sarah Jenkins, a former military strategist, stood on the rooftop of an abandoned research facility in what was once New York City. Her eyes scanned the horizon, where the remnants of alien technology still cast long shadows across the broken landscape. She knew they couldn't survive another direct confrontation with the invaders. A small group of survivors had gathered around her, scientists, soldiers, and ordinary people who had managed to escape the initial attacks. They were humanity's last hope, a ragtag team of individuals who represented the collective will to survive. Among them was Dr. Michael Rodriguez, a brilliant physicist who had been studying the alien technology captured during previous skirmishes. "We have one chance," Michael said, spreading out a complex diagram of alien circuitry. "Their weakness is their interconnected neural network. If we can disrupt their central communication system, we might have a fighting chance." The plan was audacious and incredibly risky. They would need to infiltrate the massive alien mothership that hovered above the ruins of Washington, D.C. Each member of the team knew the mission had less than a 10% chance of success, but they were beyond fear at this point. Young Jake, a teenage computer genius who had lost his entire family in the initial invasion, began preparing their hacking equipment. His fingers moved with a precision that spoke of both trauma and determination. The aliens had underestimated human adaptability, and now they would pay the price. Their modified transport, a hybrid of salvaged human technology and stolen alien components, sat ready in the underground hangar. It was a machine that shouldn't have been possible, a testament to human ingenuity born from absolute desperation. As night fell, the team made their final preparations. Sarah checked her weapons, a mix of conventional firearms and experimental energy weapons developed from reverse-engineered alien technology. Each piece of equipment represented years of secret research and countless sacrifices. The journey to the mothership was treacherous. Alien patrol ships swept the skies, their advanced sensors searching for any sign of resistance. But the human team had developed techniques to mask their approach, using fragments of alien technology to create a kind of electronic camouflage. Michael worked frantically on the communication disruptor, a device that could potentially shut down the entire alien network. It was their one weapon that might turn the tide of the entire war. His hands shook slightly, knowing that billions of lives depended on this moment. As they approached the massive mothership, its structure seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. It was more than a spacecraft. It was a living, thinking machine that had already conquered countless worlds. But the humans had something the aliens never expected: pure, unbridled human spirit. The infiltration began. Jake's hacking skills proved crucial, creating momentary blind spots in the alien defense systems. Sarah led the assault team, moving with a precision that came from years of military training. Each step was calculated, each movement purposeful. They were not just fighting for survival. They were fighting for every person who had been lost, every city that had been destroyed, every dream that had been crushed under the alien invasion. This was humanity's final stand. As they reached the central communication hub, the aliens realized what was happening. Defensive systems activated. Energy weapons charged, massive mechanical arms began to move, but it was too late. Michael activated the disruptor, sending a cascade of electronic signals that began to tear apart the alien network. The mothership started to shake. Alien systems began to fail. For the first time since the invasion began, the invaders looked vulnerable. Sarah looked at her team, a group of survivors who represented the best of humanity. Broken, wounded, but undefeated. They had done the impossible. They had given humanity a fighting chance. As alarms blared and the massive ship began to break apart, they knew their mission was far from over. But in this moment, they had struck, a blow that would be remembered for generations. Humanity would not go quietly. Humanity would fight. The battle was not won, but hope had been reborn. Archaeological. We found something buried in the planet's crust about 6 months ago, some kind of ancient technology. That's when our troubles started. Sujin's communicator buzzed again. Commander, we have multiple small craft launching from the alien ship. They'll reach your position in 10 minutes. Sujin turned to the colonists. We need to move now. Our shuttle can't take everyone at once. The strongest will have to wait for the second trip. As they organized the evacuation, a loud explosion shook the bunker. Dust fell from the ceiling. "They found us," shouted one of the colonists. Mina checked her scanner. Multiple contacts approaching the bunker entrance. Sujin made a quick decision. Get the first group to the shuttle. Duyun, take 5 colonists, who can fight and set up a defensive position. We'll hold them off. The first group, mostly children, elderly, and injured, hurried toward the back exit that would take them to the shuttle. Sujin and her makeshift defense team took positions near the main entrance. They didn't wait long. The bunker door buckled under some powerful force, then tore open. The Krell poured in, 6-legged monstrosities with weapons that seemed to grow from their bodies. "Fire!" Sujin ordered. Their weapons blazed, cutting down the first wave of Krell. But more kept coming. Sujin saw one of her shots hit a Krell directly, tearing through its body, only for the wound to begin closing almost immediately. "They self-repair," she shouted to the others. "Aim for their heads." The battle was chaotic. The colonists fought, bravely, but they were outmatched. Just as their position was about to be overrun, Sujin's communicator came to life. "Commander, The Icarus is engaging the alien vessel. We've powered up the quantum cannons. Su-Jin felt a surge of hope. Fire at will, Captain, and send the second shuttle immediately. Above them, in space, the prototype battleship Icarus faced its first real test against an enemy no human had ever fought before. The future of New Horizon, and perhaps all of humanity, hung in the balance. The UES Icarus hung in the darkness of space above New Horizon, its sleek hull gleaming under the light of the distant sun. Captain Jin Ho gripped the arms of his command chair as the massive Krell ship approached, its organic mechanical form pulsing with strange energy. "All stations report," Jin Ho ordered, his voice calm despite the tension. "Shields at maximum," responded the tactical officer. "Quantum weapons, hot and targeting systems locked. Engineering ready?" came another voice. "Reactor at optimal levels." The Krell ship fired first. A beam of energy unlike anything they had seen before struck the Icarus's shields. The battleship shuddered, but held. "Shield efficiency at 90%, reported the tactical officer. "The adaptive systems are already analyzing the attack pattern." Jin Ho nodded. "Return fire. Target their weapons array." The Icarus's quantum cannons released brilliant blue energy that cut through space. When it struck the Krell vessel, the alien ship's outer hull seemed to ripple and absorb some of the impact. But damage was done. A section of the ship darkened and stopped pulsing. "Direct hit," announced the tactical officer. "Their forward weapons are offline." On the planet below, Commander Su-Jin and her team fought their way back toward the shuttle. The second group of colonists followed close behind. They had managed to hold off the Krell long enough for the first shuttle to escape, but now they were running out of time and ammunition. "Status on the second shuttle?" Su-Jin asked through her communicator as she fired at another approaching Krell. 2 minutes out, Commander," came the reply. A Krell laser blast hit the wall next to Su-Jin, showering her with debris. She ducked behind a fallen column, checking the charge on her weapon. "Nearly empty. We need to fall back to the landing zone," she told her team. "Form a defensive circle around the colonists." As they retreated, the ground shook violently. Su-Jin looked up to see flashes of light in the sky. The battle between the Icarus and the Krell ship was visible even from the surface. Back in space, the Icarus was taking heavy damage. 3 smaller Krell vessels had joined the fight surrounding the battleship. "Hull breach on Deck 5, reported an officer. "Emergency force field holding." "Shields down to 40%, added another. "We can't take much more of this, Captain." Jin Ho's mind raced through their options. The Icarus was powerful but outnumbered. Just then, a massive blast rocked the ship. The lights flickered and warning alarms blared throughout the bridge. "Direct hit to the main power core," shouted the engineering officer. "Core temperature rising beyond safe levels. If it continues, we'll have a meltdown in 3 minutes." In the engine room, Chief Engineer Ha-Joon Kim worked frantically at the controls. Nothing was responding. The blast had damaged the automated cooling systems. "Bridge, this is engineering," he called. "The automatic controls are fried. I need to manually vent the core or we're all dead." "That's too dangerous," Jin Ho replied. "The radiation levels—" "There's no other choice, Captain," Ha-Joon interrupted. "Send me Technician Min. I'll need help." When Min arrived, Ha-Joon was already putting on a radiation suit. "The manual override is in the core chamber. We need to get in there and physically open the cooling vents." Min's eyes widened. "Even with the suits, the radiation will be lethal. After more than 2 minutes of exposure." Ha-Joon handed him a suit. "Then we'd better be quick." The 2 engineers entered the core chamber, immediately feeling the intense heat even through their protective gear. The massive quantum core pulsed with unstable energy, its containment field fluctuating. "The main coolant valve is stuck," Ha-Joon said, pointing to a large wheel mechanism. "We need to turn it together." As they struggled with the valve, the ship took another hit. Min lost his footing and fell, his suit tearing on a sharp piece of metal. "Go!" Min shouted. "I'm already exposed. Finish it." Ha-Joon hesitated only a moment before continuing to turn the valve. With a grinding sound, it finally gave way. Coolant rushed into the chamber, and the core's dangerous glow began to stabilize. Ha-Joon helped Min to his feet, and they staggered. toward the exit. They made it out just as Min collapsed. On the planet, Sujin heard the good news through her communicator. The Icarus is holding, Commander. Shields are adapting to the Krell weapons, effectiveness increasing with each hit. Sujin felt a surge of hope as the second shuttle appeared overhead, landing in a clear area nearby. Everyone move. Get to the shuttle. As the colonists ran for the shuttle, a massive Krell unit emerged from the ruins of a building. It was twice the size of the others, with multiple weapon systems built into its body. Go! Sujin shouted to the others. I'll hold it off. Lieutenant Do-yoon stayed by her side. Not alone, you won't. Their weapons seemed to barely damage the large Krell. It advanced steadily, firing energy blasts that tore up the ground around them. Just as the situation seemed hopeless, a blinding beam of energy struck from the sky, hitting the large Krell directly. The creature exploded into pieces. Sujin looked up to see the Icarus had moved into low orbit, its main cannon still glowing from the shot. Commander, get on that shuttle now, came Jinho's voice. We've bought you some time, but more Krell ships are entering the system. Sujin and Do-yoon ran for the shuttle. As it lifted off, Sujin looked down at the colony, her first glimpse of the full scale of destruction. Nearly half the settlement was in ruins. The shuttle docked with the Icarus, and Sujin rushed to the bridge. Jinho met her with a grim express. I'll write part 1. The Frontier's Edge in about 900 words using simple English and third-person style with Korean names as requested. Here's the story without headings. The stars glittered like diamonds against the endless black of space. Commander, Sujin Park stood tall on the observation deck of the UES Icarus. She felt a mix of pride and worry as she looked out at the vastness before her. The Icarus was humanity's newest battleship. It was special because it was the first of its kind, a prototype with weapons and shields no one had tested in real combat. After 5 years of building and testing, the ship was finally ready for its first real journey. Commander, all systems are running at full capacity, said Lieutenant Do-yoon, her second in command. His voice was steady, but she could hear the excitement in it. Sujin nodded. Good. Set course for New Horizon Colony. The journey to New Horizon would take 3 days, at full speed. It was Earth's farthest colony, sitting at the very edge of explored space. The mission was supposed to be simple. Fly there, show off the new ship, and fly back. The higher-ups called it a shakedown cruise. Sujin called it a waste of the Icarus's potential. As the ship moved through space, Sujin spent most of her time learning about its systems. The quantum cannons could tear through almost any known material. The adaptive shields learned from attacks and grew stronger against them. The ship even had its own artificial intelligence called Hana to help control these complex systems. Commander, we're approaching New Horizon, announced Minho from his station at navigation on the 3rd day. We'll be in communication range in 2 minutes. Sujin straightened her uniform. Open a channel as soon as we're in range. 2 minutes passed, then 5, then 10. No response came from the colony. Try again, ordered Sujin, a cold feeling growing in her stomach. I've tried all frequencies, Commander, said Ji-woon, the communications officer. Her fingers moved quickly over her console. There's nothing. Sujin turned to her sensor officer. Scan the colony and surrounding space. After a moment, the young officer looked up with wide eyes. Commander, I'm detecting unusual energy readings in orbit around the planet. Nothing like our technology. The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew what this might mean. In the 200 years since humans had spread to the stars, they had never found intelligent alien life. But they had always prepared for the possibility. Battle stations, Sujin said calmly. Power up defensive systems, but keep weapons cold. We don't want to appear hostile if this is a first contact situation. The Icarus moved closer to New Horizon, its sensors gathering more data with each passing minute. The planet looked peaceful from a distance, a blue-green world with wispy white clouds. But the scans told a different story. Multiple unknown vessels in orbit, Commander, reported Taeho, the tactical officer. They're big. Bigger than anything in Earth's fleet. And they're not answering our hails either. Sujin's mind raced through her options. They could turn around and head back to Earth for reinforcements, but that would take weeks. By then, whatever was happening at New Horizon might be over. Can we get any transmissions from the surface? She asked. Ji-eun adjusted some settings on her console. Wait, yes. It's faint, but I'm picking up an emergency broadcast. Audio only. Put it through, Sujin ordered. A scratchy voice filled the bridge, breaking up every few words. This is Governor Han, New Horizon Colony, under attack by unknown forces, heavy casualties. They're taking people. Need immediate assistance. The message repeated 3 times before cutting out completely. Sujin took a deep breath. Tactical. What's the status of those ships? They appear to be focused on the planet, Commander. Several smaller vessels are moving between the surface and the larger ships. It looks like they're transporting something or someone. The words of Governor Han echoed in Sujin's mind. They're taking people. How close can we get without being detected? She asked. Taeho studied his readings. The nearest ship is on the far side of the planet. If we approach from this vector and use the planet's magnetic field to mask our signature, we might get close enough for a better look. Sujin nodded. Do it, and prepare a stealth shuttle. I want to see what's happening on the ground. As the Icarus crept closer to New Horizon, the crew watched in stunned silence as the sensor readings became clearer. The alien ships were like nothing they had ever seen, part mechanical, part organic, with surfaces that seemed to pulse and shift like living tissue. Commander, called Minho from his station. I've detected a small pocket of survivors in what appears to be a hardened bunker near the main colony complex. They're surrounded by multiple hostile forces. Sujin made her decision. Prepare a rescue team. We'll drop in with the stealth shuttle and extract as many colonists as we can. Lieutenant. Do-yeon stepped closer to her. Commander, with all due respect, the Icarus hasn't been tested in combat. We don't know if our systems will hold against unknown alien technology. Sujin met his eyes with a steady gaze. Sometimes, Lieutenant, the best test is the real thing. We can run back to Earth, or we can do what this ship was built for, protecting humanity's frontier. As the Icarus moved into position behind New Horizon's moon, Sujin looked one last time at the alien ships through the view screen. Whatever these creatures were, they had come to a human colony with harmful intentions. They were about to learn what happened when they threatened humanity's future among the stars. The stealth shuttle moved silently through New Horizon's atmosphere. Commander Sujin Park sat strapped in her seat, checking her weapon one last time. With her were 5 crew members, including Lieutenant Do-yoon and Security Chief Mina, all armed and ready. Approaching drop zone, said the pilot. Sensors show heavy activity near the colony center. Sujin nodded. Take us down behind that ridge. We'll proceed on foot. The shuttle touched down softly on dusty ground half a kilometer from the main colony. As the team exited, they got their first real look at New Horizon. What had once been a thriving settlement now lay in ruins. Several buildings were burning, and strange mechanical devices had been placed throughout the colony. Life signs? Sujin asked, looking at Mina, who held the scanner. Faint readings from the underground bunker complex, Mina replied, and multiple unknown signatures moving through the colony. They don't match any known species. Sujin made a quick decision. We move to the bunker first, save who we can, then gather intelligence. The team moved carefully through the outer buildings, keeping to cover. They passed homes with doors broken open, belongings scattered as if people had been taken suddenly. The silence was broken only by distant, strange mechanical sounds. As they crossed a small square, Mina suddenly held up her hand. Movement ahead. They ducked behind a fallen wall. Sujin peered over the edge and saw it, her first alien. The creature moved on 6 legs, its body a mix of metal and something like flesh. Its head swiveled unnaturally, scanning the area with glowing sensors instead of eyes. What is that thing? Whispered Do-yeon. Krell, came a voice from behind them. The team spun around, weapons raised, to find a human man crouched in a doorway. His face was dirty and scratched, his colony uniform torn. "My name is Hyunwoo," he said. "I'm a security officer for the colony. Been hiding and watching these things for 3 days." Soo-jin lowered her weapon. "Commander Park, UES Icarus, we picked up your distress call." Hyunwoo's eyes widened. "Earth sent help? Thank the stars. But just one ship?" "A prototype battleship," Soo-jin replied. "What can you tell us about these Krell?" "They came without warning," Hyunwoo said, his voice shaking slightly. 6 huge ships appeared in orbit. They jammed our communications almost immediately. Then they sent down those things they call themselves the Krell. We only know because they broadcast some kind of message before they started taking people. "Taking them where?" asked Mina. "Their ships. They're collecting humans like samples." He pointed to the strange devices placed around the colony. "Those things scan for human life signs. Once they find you, they send hunters." Soo-jin's communicator buzzed softly. "Commander," came the voice of Captain Jin-ho from the Icarus. "We have a situation. One of the alien vessels has detected our presence. It's breaking orbit and moving toward our position." Soo-jin made a quick decision. "How many people are left in the bunker, Hyunwoo?" "About 40 survivors, including Governor Han. Lead us there. We need to evacuate immediately." The team moved quickly through the ruins following Hyunwoo. They had to dodge 3 more Krell patrols before they reached a hidden entrance to the bunker. Inside, they found terrified colonists, many injured. Governor Han limped forward. "Who are you?" "Commander Park, UES Icarus, we're here to evacuate you, but we need to move fast. One of the alien ships has detected our presence." The governor nodded. "We've been monitoring them as best we can. They take people to their ships, but we don't know why. They seem particularly interested in our research facilities." "What research?" Soo-jin asked.